Been said that it takes a community to raise a child. From the miracle of birth until the golden years, there's a community system you can count on. Trinity Health System, a community with centers of excellence. Trinity Heart Center, Orthopedic and Spine Center, Women's Health and Birth Center, and Tony Terramana Cancer Center treat the most complex health issues. A community of rehabilitative services and a spiritual support staff treating the whole person. Trinity's quest to be the best simply puts us above everywhere in the region.
This is week 6 of the high school football season. We have 5-0 St. Clairsville visiting 4-1 Indian Creek Friday night at 7 p.m. at Kettlewell Stadium. And we have 5-0 Bridgeport facing 4-0 Wharton Madonna Blue Dons at 1 p.m. Saturday at Jimmy Carey Stadium. I'm here with Coach Andrew Connor from Indian Creek High School. The team is 4-1, having won 2 in a row after lost to Oak Glen. Let's go back a couple years. Obviously, you had a 2-8 season. Since the 2-8 season, you implemented a new program, and the program has gone 10-5 since. Was it easy to make that decision to implement the new program?
In a way it was. I mean, I think, like I said, I felt like I didn't prepare our kids very well in the 2-8 season, and I thought that, that obviously that falls on me as a head coach. And you hear people say that all the time, coaches say that, but if you're not going to change anything, then really you're not trying to make your program better. And we got much tougher in our weight room. The rules got much tougher. Our numbers went down. And again, I think my big thing was before the 2-8 season was your numbers. Everybody always said, if you have 60, 70 kids, it shows your program's heading in the right direction. And now I don't believe that anymore. I believe as long as you have 30, 35 kids that really are committed to you and committed to what you're trying to do, it makes your program better.
So obviously now, since you've done that, you guys went 6-4 last year, just missed a playoff spot, 4-1 this year. So the fruits of the labor is pretty obvious.
I think so. I think the kids understand what it takes now, and I think the kids are more resilient. I think we build on issues like character and dedication. I think the kids understand what that means because they have to work so hard to get to the football season that when bad things happen to them, it's not like the end of the world because they've developed some qualities that will help them as the season progresses. And
then also, let's talk the offshoot of that is adversity every football team faces every year for whatever reason, and stuff the kids just can't control. Injury to Ty Yoakum, injury to Brian Rupert, stuff the kids have no control over, but now all that hard work still needs to pay off.
It does. I mean, it makes you, I think, better from top to bottom. We've lost some quality kids, and we've been dinged up with some quality kids that are older. But our younger kids are now more prepared because I think they've gone through all the stuff they have to go through in the summer, and they've been called on more often because you don't have that huge number of kids. You have the smaller number, and those kids now are dedicated to your program, so they're ready to step in, and they understand that's part of the program, that they have to be ready on every given Friday to play, and I think it makes us better because we've played, like I said, 10, 12, 13 sophomores in very crucial circumstances this year. So as the years moved on, we've developed a good core of backups or even experience that I hopefully will benefit us as we go down the stretch.
Talk about the bounce back. Obviously, you guys going to Oak Glen favored. Get beat pretty soundly, had some mistakes, but now you come back, a nice win against Union Local, 14-12, and come back beating a Buckeye team. Yeah, they were winless, but you still need to take care of business. So you guys go 4-1. So it's a nice, like I said, nice bounce back coming back from Oak Glen.
Well, our issue against Union Local, we've taken like one word, and I know it's very simplistic. The word for the Union Local week was character. You get knocked down, what are you made of? We thought, we struggled on offense, not finishing drives, and left a lot of points on the board against Oak Glen and even against Union Local. But we bounced back with character against UL, hung on in a very tight game in the fourth quarter. This week was about respect because I still told the kids, I don't know if a lot of people think you're a good football team. And I think the only way you can prove that you are is you have to go out and win games that people think you're supposed to win. And again, even though I think Buckeye is very talented and very well coached, if you just look at it in the records standpoint, 3-1 to 0-4. Not that I thought they were an 0-14. I thought they were very dangerous and very good. But I told the kids, people still don't think you're very good. You have to go win those games too now. And I thought our kids responded well to that. And again, I thought, in the long run, these are the type of games that kind of bond you together. Because again, we had guys missing. Right. No Evan Hopkins, no backup tailback, no Frankie Ward, no Brian, no Mikey. And when you only start with 37, and that number dwindles down. There's been times we practiced with 24 guys. We joke about all the right moves. We've been joking about the movie, but sometimes it feels like we're all the right moves. A couple coaches and 20-some kids, and you're going to go play a game. But what the good thing is, the kids understand that that's part of football. You don't need a million kids. The kids that are there just got to want to be there, and I think they do now. And I think it's been a lot of change over the last couple of years that I think they understand the IC means something.
I'm here with Madonna coach Bob Kramer talking about Saturday's 1 p.m. game against Bridgeport. Before we talk about Bridgeport, let's talk about the journey you've been on since you took over the program. You took over the program 13 years ago, went knocking on doors with 14 kids. Did you ever envision what is going on now?
Not in a million years. No way I ever envisioned this. I thought we could win. I thought we could be winners. But to reach the level that we've reached right now, no, that's like a dream come true. It's something that was unexpected, which sometimes that's the best way things should happen. You appreciate them a little bit more maybe that way. But no, the way the program has developed and the way things have come along, no, I never envisioned that.
Well, where do you think? I mean, obviously, since you've been leading the ship, it's been pretty good. Your worst record as a coach is 5-5. But obviously you've had the kids to do this, and obviously it looks like a little bit last 5-6 years you've had a type of kids that just hate to lose.
Well, when I first got there were a lot of kids in the school that weren't playing football, and that's a lot of schools are like that for whatever reason, one or another. And once we started winning, the best thing I said that ever happened to me on the first game I ever coached at Madonna as a head coach. And then we started getting the kids out that were in the school. And, like last year, we got almost half of the boys in the school were playing football. But it's getting them interested, getting them out. And you develop that tradition and you develop that attitude. And the young kids learn it from the older kids. Mm-hmm. It's always passed down, and once you get a bunch of kids that are like that, then they pass that down to the younger kids. And the younger kids, at most programs, they don't want to be the ones to break that tradition, right, so to speak. So they get it in their heads that they just hate to lose, and as long as you don't get to a place that you expect to win all the time, where you get complacent, mm-hmm, then you're fine with that.
Talk about Saturday 1 o'clock game. Why the 1 o'clock game as opposed to the typical Saturday night game?
Well, it was originally scheduled for Saturday night, but Bridgeport said that the atmosphere last year down at Bridgeport, they made that a 1 o'clock game. And everything went so well, and there was a large crowd, and we just felt, they asked if it was possible to do that, and I said, sure, I prefer Saturday afternoon games myself. Let's get it out there and play and get the nerves out of the road and that. So basically, it was their request, and we could see no reason not to do it, so we decided to go ahead and play Saturday afternoon. Like I said, I don't mind playing Saturday afternoon, not at all.
Talk about, at the beginning of the year, you and I talked about your biggest, I don't want to say weaknesses, but your biggest question marks were on both sides of the ball at the line, because that's where you graduated a lot of kids. Obviously you graduated, 11 seniors, yes, but you lost the gut of your offensive and defensive lines. Talk about how the kids have now come along through 4 games in 5 weeks.
Well, 10 of those 11 seniors were all starters, so they left, and yeah, we did have to fill some holes up front, but so far some of the younger kids, we didn't have the seniors to fill them. I mean, we do have 2 up there, but the rest of them are sophomores and juniors that have bonded together quite well. I mean, we're real pleased the way they've come along. As far as knowing their assignments, there's still things to work on. They still have to get better. But the line has been the surprise of the year as far as I'm concerned. And it has to just keep improving. And this week it'll get a real test.
Yeah, well, because obviously you're playing a Bridgeport team that this is what, your 4th year playing them? 4th year in a row, I think?
It might be more than that.
But you've won at least 3 in a row.
Yes.
And all of it have been just knockdown dragouts as expected. And
yes, they have been.
So talk about, now they're coming in. The difference last year was you guys came in with more experience. Now this year they're coming in with more experience. So talk about that.
Well, that's a big advantage to anybody. Is those kids there are basically the same kids we've been playing against for the last 3 years.
Right.
So they know what's expected. They know what's been. They had a great win against Wheeling Central the other night, against a very good Wheeling Central team. They should be full of confidence, and experience is a big thing, because when you get into crunch time, you have to just react so fast to the way things are developing that once you get that experience, it just flows. It just comes. The kids feel confident in what they can do. So obviously they're going to have a big advantage there because of our inexperience up front, and even in our backfield. You know, Perna was a backup quarterback for so many years, but now he's stepped in. Connor's moved to tailback from wide out. Eloy moved from tight end. In fact, he's played 3 different positions to fullback. So, you know, that would be a big advantage to them as far as experience.
Last question. Talk about kids and how they accept the challenge ahead of them. Obviously, you had, I go back to the kids who just graduated. I go back to their freshman year. You guys were down at John Marshall playing Bishop Donahue. Yeah. You guys were 4-5. Bishop Donahue had a chance to make the playoffs, and you pretty much beat them. You shut them out, from what I remember. Yes, so you had those kids that stepped up to the challenge, and they've been pretty much stepping up to the challenge ever since. Well, for this team, obviously this is the biggest challenge you face this year.
Oh yeah, but kids year in, year out, you're going to face a challenge every year at some point. But no, those kids came in. They were well schooled in what they could do as freshmen. That they were very confident then. It was a confident group of kids, that senior bunch. Those the Magnificent 10, I call them, because we had one to come in later. But those 10 really felt good about what they were doing, and they were willing to play wherever you put them and do whatever you told them to do. They did it, and they did it well. They did it with full enthusiasm, and it just showed. They just, from year to year, they just kept getting better and better and better. But that group was one thing. Now I'm kind of anxious to see how this group faces their first real big challenge. Right. We played some what I consider some decent football teams. Scores may not indicate it, but we played some good teams. But obviously, Bridgeport has played a tougher schedule to this point than we have. So now it's time for us to buckle it up and just see how good we really are.